He started. Yes. Hi, everybody. We had a false start there for a minute. So good morning. I'm Lily, and I am here with Nathan. We are with SAWS, San Antonio Water System, and we are at the San Antonio Botanical Gardens. We're in Water Saver Lane again, but we're just using their beautiful background to bring you an interesting little demonstration, because lots of us might have some frustrations with these nasty little pests, tiny little pests called aphids, that like to wreak havoc on our plants, and we're not really sure how to best control that. So before I get out of the way and let Nathan show you how to create an awesome little aphid trap, I want to remind you that, well, first of all, I want to tell you that we're live on both channels simultaneously. So we're on Periscope and Facebook Live. We want to thank you for joining us. And then please swipe and share, depending on your device, of course. Swipe and share and let others know that this is happening, and give us comments or ask questions. We appreciate that. So I'll step out of the way and let Nathan take you through the process.
Thanks, Lily. Well, good morning from the San Antonio Botanical Gardens, one of the most beautiful places in San Antonio, with a wide variety of plants, different types of gardens. And today we're going to talk a little bit about, kind of close out the series that we've been doing to help customers who have taken advantage of the SAWS landscape coupons. We're kind of in that phase now where the customers have made their beds, they've planted their flowers and their plants, and last week we talked about the orange oil herbicide. This week we're going to talk a little bit about how to make a trap for some of the pests that get on those plants. Now, a lot of people are planting milkweed, either tropical milkweed, swamp milkweed, some of the native varieties of milkweed, because San Antonio has been designated a champion monarch city on a national level. We have followed all of the 24 recommendations to become a monarch champion city, and one of those things is planting milkweed, making habitat for monarch butterflies. And so a lot of people are planting the milkweeds, and they're noticing aphids on the plants. Aphids are an insect that sucks juices from the plant, and on milkweed they're little tiny fat yellow beasts that suck the sap, and these are called oleander aphids. We're going to take a look at some in a little bit, but one of the things we want to do is we want to demonstrate how you can build a trap to put in your landscape to catch some of these insects, more specifically aphids, whiteflies, thrips, fungus gnats. They are attracted to this bright yellow color, and we can make something then that's cheap, it's easy, and it's disposable. So show you what our materials are today. You need a bright yellow cup, and so you can use a yellow solo cup if you want, but a bright yellow cup, it has to be yellow. You can also use a bright yellow index card as well, but the color needs to be yellow. Yellow is the attractant for these insects. You can also then use some sort of mounting medium. You can use a wire, like the wire from a wire flag. I've got some garden style flags here. You can use wire from a flag. You can use a wooden stake. I've also got a little metal bar here that you can use. You'll need a pin or a small nail, depending on how you want to mount this. I'm using the pin and the nail today, or you could use some packing tape, duct tape, to actually tape your stake or your bar to the inside of the cup if you want. You got to have some petroleum jelly or spray adhesive, but I'm going to use petroleum jelly today. That's the easiest thing to do. And so I'm going to put on my nitrile glove here, just so that I don't get greasy hands from the petroleum jelly, and show y'all what we're going to do with this. Now, I've already created a cup here, but I'm going to start from scratch. So we have our cup, and you want to apply the material to the outside of the cup because you want this to hang open end down. You don't want it upside down, because if it rains it'll fill with water and then it'll fall over. So upside down like this to be able to do that. So I'm going to move my bag over here, and all you'll have to do is just get you a liberal helping of the petroleum jelly and just smear it all around the outside. And now you can see why I put on the nitrile glove for this particular thing. But just a nice covering all around the outside so that it's sticky, and it will actually ensnare our little insect victim beasts when we get ready to put this in the garden. So we have our cup, and the next thing we need to do is we can use our pin or our small nail to punch a hole for our wire. And so I'm just going to poke a hole in the lid like so, and then I'm going to insert my wire in, and I'm going to push it all the way down because I'm going to make a little hook on the top. I've bent, if you can see here, I've made a little hook. And so I'm just going to kind of see where the hook touches so I can poke another hole in the lid and kind of make a place for it to go in. So I'm just going to kind of poke a hole right up here in the top. There we go. And I'm going to just punch my little wire in. There we go. Just kind of bent up my cup a little bit, but that's okay. Aphids don't care about aesthetics. So here we go. It's now set on top of the cup just like so. You can also, if you want, you could also tape the wire to the inside of the cup if you wanted to, or the wooden stake, or the little metal bar, whichever you like to do. The next thing you have to do is you have to have the pests to trap. So before we do that, I just want to kind of reiterate here. I'm Nathan Riggs with Saws Conservation, and I'm here talking about a quick and easy aphid trap that you can make that will trap aphids, whiteflies, fungus gnats, and thrips in your landscape, in your garden, especially if you are dealing with newly established plants and still trying to get them going, and you don't want the aphids to and the other insects to suck the sap out of your plants and make them more stressed than they already are. So I have a small wire, like from a wire flag. I have a yellow solo cup, or you can also use a yellow index card, but it has to be yellow. The yellow is the attractive color. I have slathered petroleum jelly all the way around. Be sure you use the clear petroleum jelly. Do not use the medicated petroleum jelly. Use the clear, slather it all around the outside. You want the cup to be hanging in a downward position so it doesn't collect water. And then we are going to put this into our garden to be able to trap aphids. So what I've got behind us, if y'all look behind us, we have some tropical milkweed. You can see the real pretty red and yellow flowers.
So we did have a question.
Oh, we have a question.
About whether we can prevent aphids altogether.
Oh, can we prevent aphids? Not really. Aphids are everywhere. There are many, many different species of aphids. In this particular case, they're milkweeds. We're talking about yellow oleander aphids that love to get on milkweed. And you really can't prevent them. The best thing that you can do is to put out traps, and then you can also implement an integrated pest management type program where you look at releasing beneficial insects in your garden, like ladybugs, like purchasing lacewing eggs from a nursery or an online supplier. You can also utilize neem oil sprays if you want, but remember, any kind of spray that you use on your milkweed is going to impact butterflies. So we're trying to do something that does not have a chemical residue. We want our monarchs to feed on the milkweed and get big and happy and strong. So we're looking at traps, and we're looking at biological controls in our integrated type program. Now there's one other thing we can do, and I'll show you that in a minute, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our trap just kind of in the middle of this milkweed here so that it will do its thing. And while we're talking about that, let's take a closer look at our culprits. If you guys will zoom in on this milkweed right here, you can see the yellow oleander aphids all in the blooms, all under the leaves of this particular milkweed plant. And the cool thing is that we already have some insect predators that are here. If y'all will take a good close look at the top of this leaf, you see this little bumpy alligator-looking worm. This is a syrphid fly larva. Syrphid flies look like tiny little hovering bees, and they feed on the pollen from the plants. But this little guy is a syrphid fly larva, and he eats aphids for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Very, very beneficial little guy. There's also ladybugs in and around this. If you take a look in this plant, and there was one on here, it's probably moved away.
It's on the other side of this back leaf.
Of course, it's hiding from us. There's a little pair of, this is a Ladybug Pupa. right here, this little orange thing, there is a ladybug developing from the larval stage to the adult stage in that. So if you see these little orange bumpy things on your plants, that is a ladybug pupa developing. Now you can see here we have two little brown beetles crawling around. These are actually ladybugs called mealybug destroyers. Their larvae are little white, bumpy looking larvae that crawl around and eat aphids. But those are actually full grown ladybugs, even though they're super tiny. And they're actually doing the milkweed mambo this morning. So we're going to let them do their thing. And so one other thing I want to show y'all, we talked about ways to deal with the aphids and prevent them. Aphids have an interesting defense mechanism. If you take some aphids and you smash them on your fingers, so I'm going to take my finger and rub it down the back of this, and I'm going to smash some aphids on my finger. If you then hold this over the aphids and rub it around, the aphids detect the alarm pheromones from the smashed aphids that you just killed, and they will actually start to fall off the plant because they smell that alarm pheromone. Some of them are starting to move, but they're not really, you can see some of them are starting to get a little jerky and crawl around now, and they are detecting those alarm pheromones from the smashed aphids, and they'll actually drop and crawl out and fall off the plant. And aphids are not great crawlers, so it takes them a while to get back on. It makes them susceptible to predators like the ladybugs and the lacewings again. So you are actually sort of helping the beneficial insects and the predators in your garden by doing those sorts of things. So let's kind of recap what we've talked about today. We're here at the San Antonio Botanical Gardens talking about creating an insect trap in a landscape. Here specifically we're looking at tropical milkweeds, and we are talking about using an aphid trap that's made with a yellow solo cup. You can use a yellow index card that's slathered with Vaseline or petroleum jelly. You can also use spray adhesive, and the yellow color is highly attractive to aphids, whiteflies, thrips, and fungus gnats. And it's a cheap and easy way to help attract some of these pests off of your plants and onto the trap. It's disposable. You can make them. They're real easy and cheap to make. And it's a way to encourage a more natural balance in your landscape. San Antonio is a champion monarch city, and there are a lot of people growing milkweed to attract monarch butterflies to their homes and landscapes, either so they can watch the caterpillars grow or so they can watch the butterflies come in and feed on their plants. Do we have any questions?
Someone asked if we had any aphids yet on our trap.
This particular trap does not have aphids yet. One thing I have noticed on these few little milkweeds that we have here, when aphid populations get really dense, they start to produce winged individuals. So there are some aphids with wings on these plants already, so they will be flying away and spreading to these other plants. So chances are we'll start to see some aphids on this trap maybe by tomorrow. So really neat deal. It's really fun. It's a fun activity for kids to do. They can go out and check their aphid trap to see if they've caught anything. And these can last as long as you want them to in the landscape.
And maybe just remind everybody why a trap like this might be a better option than spraying.
Sure, great. When people grow milkweed, they are butterfly enthusiasts. And so if you spray any sort of neem oil, or if you spray a pesticide or something like that onto your milkweed to try to reduce insect populations, you're going to have a negative impact on your monarchs, whether it's the adults or the caterpillars. And so you want to be sure that you're using natural enemies such as ladybugs and lacewings on your milkweeds. You want to use a trap technology like we have shown here today, so that you're doing everything that you possibly can to try to manage the aphid population and allow the predators to manage the population. You will not eliminate the aphids, but you are going to reduce them down to where there's sort of a balance between the predators and the aphids, predators being the ladybugs and the lacewings. So that's the most important thing that we can do to make sure that our milkweed is happy and healthy, and so that it stays around for those monarch caterpillars to eat and grow and become butterflies.
Awesome. So I'm going to join you again in just thank everybody for being here with us today. We hope you've learned something. It's an easy way to make a trap that will allow you to still enjoy your butterflies. And so remember to come back every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. and we will continue to bring you some of this stuff. Give us some comments and questions if you've got any.
Thanks for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.